Pretty much owning the electronic space, Ellie Goulding with her unique vocals has absolutely taken the world by storm. British singer-songwriter is now on her third full-length studio album, and this is my review of Delirium. So the album Delirium was released this passing Friday, the 6th of November via Polydor Records, and it features some pretty up-there producers such as Greg Kurstin and Max Martin. This is her third studio album following Lights and Halcyon, and this album is described as a pop EDM album. Let's take a quick look at the Delirium album cover right here. I love this cover, I love the pastel blue background, I love the colour contrasts. She's naked, she's wearing a fur coat, it's a really good pop album cover. So let's get on and review the album, shall we? It is a really good pop album, and Ellie Goulding said that she wanted Delirium, or her album after Halcyon, to be a proper pop album, like she wanted to go for the pop. And I think she's done it really, really well. Delirium is one of those albums that just delivers, and it's coherent all the way through. I personally think there's a lot of influence from her previous stuff in there. I don't think it's as pop as she wanted it to be. I don't think it's as bubblegum poppy as, say, Taylor Swift is, or like Katy Perry is. Those I would say are like core pop albums, the Gagas, the Britneys. I would say it still has Ellie Goulding's like traditional like indie sound to it. So when I first heard Ellie was actually doing like a core pop album, I didn't quite know what to think, only because I feel like Ellie's one of those artists that's been through a massive transition throughout her career. I discovered her like way before her first album Lights came out, when she released an EP with Under the Sheets on it, and I loved how raw her voice was, how fresh she was, how electronic she was, and she had this indie vibe going along. And then she moved on to her second album Halcyon, which was very like dark and very, very core indie, and I think at this stage in her career, because I felt like it didn't do that well, her management may have pushed her to go down a little bit more of a generic route. So she started going with the Calvin Harrises, the big producers like Madian and stuff, and she came up with these really big clubby dance tracks, and I felt like it suited her, but at the same time I felt like it was a bit of a cop-out. I loved the album and I loved the tracks, don't get me wrong, but I'm really glad that Ellie Goulding's now come back. I feel like this is a lot of experiment for her. It's kind of incorporating the old electronic indie Ellie with like a brand new pop Ellie, and Delirium really is a good coherent pop album. So she released the first single, On My Mind, which I didn't quite know what to expect with Delirium because it's very different. I feel like On My Mind is one of those tracks on the album that it stands out. It's not like the other ones, and I was like, okay, this sounds like a really good sound for her. She's gonna go well. And then before that, she obviously had Love Me Like You Do, which she did for the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, which was just showcasing her amazing vocals, her unique vocals, which is also on this album. But then I wasn't quite sure the direction she was gonna go in. But then Delirium comes out and she's got some incredible tracks on there that are total Ellie sounding tracks. The tracks Aftertaste, Holding On For Life and Don't Need Nobody I thought were very old school Lights Ellie sounding tracks. They've got the amazing electro beats in there, they're very upbeat, they showcase her husky vocals really, really well, and these three tracks I feel are very standout Ellie tracks to me. It kind of gave me the original Lights feel that I got all the feels back, and I was really happy with that. But I feel like with Delirium, she's gone for a pop album, but I feel like she's totally ventured into every single dance electronic avenue that pop has to offer. She's thrown a lot of electronic pop in there, she's thrown some dance pop, EDM, synth pop. There's also a bit of dubstep in there as well, which I really, really like. Tracks like Don't Panic, Codes and Around You on there that are really like this really cool pop sounding track that you can hear a lot of the pop experimentation into Ellie's music. And the album also doesn't skip on Ellie's vocals either. You'd think for a pop album that should totally disregard her original vocals and like totally focus on the production, but it's not. There's a beautiful track on there called Army that really does showcase her raw husky vocals, the power in her vocals, and it just brings the album down a little bit from all those pop beats, and it's a nice breakup. Moving on to the deluxe edition, of course, there are some pretty amazing tracks on the deluxe edition. I personally think that as a coherent album, the deluxe edition is perfect. I don't think the standard edition was enough to really showcase the power of Delirium. The two tracks that stand out from the deluxe edition are I Do What I Love and Paradise. I feel Paradise is like this really like surreal pop sounding track that is just Ellie, typical Ellie, but then I Do What I Love is like this really cool like skit track that Ellie puts together, and it just really does showcase her talent and how unique she actually is in the industry. The final track on the deluxe edition is Outside, the Calvin Harris track from his album Motion, and you kind of understand how when she went into that kind of cop-out, like big dancey music, when you listen to Outside compared to the rest of Delirium, it's nothing like Outside. You can really tell how she's gone back and she's really experimented, and rather than go for those sounds, those big like dance EDM sounds that just sell on the charts, she's literally created her own pop electronic sound for Delirium, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. The album also, for a pop album, really does carry a lot of underlying themes as well. It really does showcase Ellie Goulding's writing ability. Not everyone knows that about her, that she actually is a very good lyricist. The album itself has got a lot of like underlying themes of like love, relationships, how you can not live without someone, and it's all done really nicely. It's not like just some typical pop album about love. I just love how Ellie Goulding is very metaphoric with her writing, and the way she's done it on the album, it kind of does make you feel like you're in a Delirium. Overall, I am really pleased with Delirium. I have been a huge fan of Ellie, like I said, just even before her first album came out. There was a period where I was a little bit disappointed in her sellout, but I think she's absolutely back with this album. It's just showcasing her original sound, it's mixing a lot of influence from her previous albums, and it's just another amazing album for her discography. I think my favourite track on Delirium is Don't Need Nobody. I love the pop like body roll, like EDM feel of that track. The chorus is incredible and her vocals just like roll in that track. Least favourite track has to be Heal. It is on the deluxe edition. I don't think this track kind of goes anywhere. It's okay, but it just falls a bit flat compared to the rest. I kind of understand why this one is a deluxe edition track. Overall, I feel this album is amazing. I think it's going to give her a lot of new fans. I think it's going to keep all her current fans content, and I really wish her the best of luck. She's touring with it. I'm going next year, and I'm super excited to see this tour. That is my review of Ellie Goulding Delirium. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to know what you guys think of the album if you've heard it, and if you haven't, definitely go and check it out. What are your favourite and least favourite tracks if you have heard the album? Make sure you let me know down there in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!